Hi, I am Gianfranco Papa and I am CTO and co-founder at Somnia Software. And today at Flutter Tips, we're going to see dependency injection. Okay, so what is dependency injection? It is a design pattern in which objects or functions receives another objects or functions that depends on. So the goal of this pattern is just to separate the concerns of building of the creation of the objects and how to use them. So we can have as a result like loosely coupled programs. So the object shouldn't really know how to create the service. So we are going to have in practice a lot of benefits from this design pattern. For example, supporting different configurations, or whenever something change, some of our dependencies change, we will have less impact on our classes. But also one really important would be when we perform unit tests, we will be able to send a mock instance of the dependency instead of the real one, and we will be able to actually test the class the proper way. So in practice, we are going to see this in a really fast example in Flutter. So we are going to continue with the example of modularization that we saw in other videos, where we have a counter. And in here, if we go to the counter qubit, we will see that we are creating the counter storage like inside the counter qubit. What we want to change here to support some kind of dependency injection method would be to send this in the parameters. So we might include this as a parameter. So we're going to send the counter storage as a parameter. We know how to have this as late, sorry, but we will need to assign this to the new parameter. And here we are like assigning the responsibility of creating that object to another one. So in this case, we will have to go to the counter view. And here we have to, for example, provide the real instance of the counter storage. But what happened here is that we only change the creation of the counter storage to the page. But we have like the same problem here, right? Because now the counter page is depending on creating the counter storage. So what we are going to do is instantiate this inside the main function, because it is a dependency that will be used across all of the widgets probably. So what we can do is create an instance of the counter storage in here. So we can specify the counter storage here. Then what we can do is send it as a parameter in the app as well. So what we need to do is, again, the same thing that we did here. We would like to have it in our app. So basically, we would like to have another parameter in the app, so we can send it in the main file. And we also have to assign it to our variable. I really recommend to put everything as private, so anyone don't have access to those properties. And in here, okay, so we have to send also the counter storage variable in here, and this won't be const anymore. And here, what we need to do is to provide this to the context. So what we are going to use is the repository provider value that is something that is implemented in the Flutter block. So the repository provider value, we have to specify the value. So in this case, we are using the counter storage. So by doing this, we are giving access to everyone to the counter storage by only using the context. So in here, we are going to come back to the counter page, and we are going to use, instead of creating our own instance, we are going to use the context to retrieve that instance from the context. So we had to specify the counter storage. And then if everything went right, this will work. Okay, so let's refresh and try to see if everything is working. We can use the counter and we can hot restart it, and it will be the same number. So yeah, what happened here, right? So basically, what we did is to create all of our dependencies in the mail file and try to use a dependency injection way to kind of like put every dependencies so we can access them across the app. And in terms of the counter view, we only retrieve the counter storage from the context, and in the counter qubit, we put the counter storage as a parameter. So in a way, we are solving the dependency injection problem, and the counter qubit now can be tested independently. So these are like one of the benefits that the dependency injection will give you to your application. And yeah, I hope that you find this information useful, and let us know in the comments if you already knew it. And yeah, see you in other videos.